Welcome to First Down Punts, a show about the on-field and off-the-field news in the world of pro football, as well as how it relates to fantasy football all season long. Thanks for joining in, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And now, here is your host, Orcus.
And welcome in to another episode of First Down Punts. I'm your host, Orcus. Today we're going to be going over the top 16 tight ends. 16, holy shit. Yes, we're going over the top 16 tight ends because I was going to start with the top 5, and then I was like, oh man, there's more guys I like. And then I got the top 10. I was like, there's still guys I like. So I went a little deeper. I probably could have went deeper on the receiver video, and I probably will possibly do another QB video and running back video just because there's so many of those. But right now we're going to be going over tight ends. And number one on the board will be Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Stands 6'5", 256, runs a 4.68 40 at his pro day. Last year he had 104 receptions, 1,233 yards, and 8 touchdowns. This guy's accolades: Big Ten receptions record leader all time. Penn State touchdown reception leader all time. Really good speed, great hands, really good route runner. Goes at the ball. Like, he goes and gets it. He's not waiting on the ball to get to him. He's going to get it. He is a tough, versatile, and athletic football player. I get why he's number one on most people's boards. They got him playing Wildcat QB out there. And you know he's a big fan of John Riggins because he wears number 44. This guy's a bowling ball with the ball in his hands. He is going looking for contact, looking to run somebody over. It's hilarious. And like, he's the type of guy you want playing tight end. Probably above average blocker. Not awesome, great blocker, but definitely capable in the NFL to be blocking. So he's going to be a 3-down player, no problem. On to number 2, Colston Loveland out of Michigan. 6'6", 248. Ran a 4.74 40. Had 56 catches, 582 yards for 5 touchdowns. Like I said in the other video, in a mock draft, he missed some time last year, and some people's board has him as number 1. He is a QB's best friend. He's a big wide receiver, as it happens to be labeled as a tight end. Awesome routes, great hands. He's athletic as hell. He has great footwork for cutting in and out of breaks. He's tough. He fights for extra yards. I think the only reason he is number 2 is he's a decent blocker, but he's going to be used as a receiver. He's not going to be used as a blocker on the majority of plays. And that doesn't mean he can't be a 3-down back or a 3-down tight end, but he's the receiver. Like I said, he's a big wide receiver. He probably played wide receiver in high school and shit, and then moved to tight end just because of his weight and everything. But he's definitely capable of being on the field at all times, and he's going to be a hell of a receiver for somebody. On to number 3, guy that I got excited watching, man. Like, if it wasn't for how talented these other 2 guys were, he could be number 1 on my board. Like, he's definitely a guy I would love to see on a team that I'm coaching. That's Terrence Ferguson, tight end out of Oregon, 6'5", 247. Ran a 4.63 40. That's really good. That's good speed for a tight end. 43 catches, 591 yards, and 3 touchdowns last year. This dude is fast, shifty. He's another guy that's an extra wide receiver on the field. Like, he's a slot wide receiver on the field. He's got great burst and great speed for his size. Secures the catch, goes after it, excellent hands. This guy's got yak ability because, like I said, he is shifty, man. He is herky-jerky, and he is willing to lay out for it. He'll sacrifice his body. This guy's going to be a dangerous player as long as he ends up on the right team and the right offense that knows how to use him. Like, he's going to be part of the game plan when it comes to the passing end of it. And like I said, watching him he's exciting as shit to watch with the football in his hand. So he's my number 3. And we'll move on to number 4, Harold Fannin Jr. Harold Fannin, he is going to be a weapon. That's the number 1 word I got for him. He's out of Bowling Green. He's 6'3", 241 pounds. A little bit short, but that's all right. He's not going to be lining up in line too often. He's going to be flanked out. He ran a 4.7 140. Last year, he had 117 catches, 1,555 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Now, people are going to knock him because of the level of competition and that he caught a bunch of short passes, just accumulating passes. But you don't get 1,500 yards with all short passes. This guy, he's physical. He moves with power. He's got great hands and ability to adjust on the move to the pass. He's got a huge catch radius. He's above average route runner. He is excellent in traffic, and he is a yak man. If he gets the ball, he's getting extra yards. That's all there is to it. This guy is, like I said, a weapon. Excellent receiver at all levels. Short, mid, deep, it doesn't matter. He can do it all. You want to get this guy, put him into a system that is like, if you get a 2 tight end system, it'd be great, but I think this guy can be on the field every play just because of his receiving capability. He's the type of guy you're using in the game plan, the same as I was talking about Ferguson. They're drawing up plans for him, and that's what you want as a receiving tight end. So, number 5, Joshua Simon, another guy I like a lot. There's some people that are higher on other guys like Arroyo, the Mason Taylor. I like those guys too, but Joshua Simon out of South Carolina, 6'4", 239, 4.65 40. You get under 4.7, you're doing great. 34 catches, 450 yards, and 6 touchdowns. They had a lot of weapons in South Carolina. There's a running back coming out of there. Reminds me of Reggie Bush a little bit. There's a couple receivers coming out of there. But this guy is a tight end. He's a yak monster. I talk about yak ability. That's getting ball, getting 6, 7 extra yards. This guy is a yak monster. He doesn't just get 6, 7 yards after catching it and get tackled. This guy breaks 3 or 4 tackles and gets 12 extra yards. He is a amazing athlete. He works all parts of the field. Great hands, quick feet, and he is fast, man. Like I said, 4.65 40. This guy is a joker card. He is Joker's wild. I would have a play called Joker Wild for this guy because that's exactly what he is. He is a physical football player, and he's the type of guy you want on an offense that wants to throw the ball. This guy can catch it at, like I said, at all levels of the field. Great hands. And having him part of an offense, like he could be a Travis Kelce replacement. I'm not saying he plays like Travis Kelce. I'm saying for that offense would be awesome. A team like Miami, they got Jonnu down there. Jonnu's getting older. They get this guy, let him learn behind Jonnu for a year. His contract's up, and Simon, he's going to be involved halfway through the season at worst. But this guy is just, like I said, a yak monster, and he's a joker card, man. Let the chips ride. Number 6, Elijah Arroyo, the guy I was just talking about, I mentioned a minute ago, out of Miami, 6'4", 245, 4.69 40. So he's right there by 4.7. And which lets you know he's got plenty of speed. 35 catches, 590 yards, and 7 touchdowns last year with Cam Ward throwing on the ball. He's got big play capability, and he's got Kyle Pitts-type athleticism, man. He is a hell of an athlete. He is great with the ball in his hands. Get him the ball, watch him do his work. He can be more physical at times. He's a willing blocker. I would like him to be a little more physical at the point of attack, in traffic, going for the ball, but he plays like a wide receiver. I mean, that's he's got a wide receiver skill set that just happens to be in a 6'4", 245 frame, and he's a damn good receiver. Like I said, he'll probably end up splitting time with a good blocker, a really good blocker or something at times, coming in for run plays, but this guy's going to be on the field for 60, 70% of the plays with no problem. I'm not sure how well his blocking, without working on it first, he's going to come into the field and be ready to go full time. He's got the capability. He's got the body. That's not the issue. He's got the frame for it. He's got, like I said, good feet. Definitely got to get a little bit stronger or just be more physical more than anything. Just be aggressive type. He's a good player, man. Team will be happy to have him. That's for damn sure. Number 7. Mitchell Evans, Notre Dame tight end, 6'5", 258, 4.74 40. So he's right there around that 4.7 mark. Last year had 43 catches, 421 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He did have a slow start due to his ACL recovery. He did much better in the second half of the season. This guy's got soft hands, man. Great hands. Just soft. He catches it like an egg, like I said, on some of his receivers. He's great in traffic. He knows how to use his body. He boxes out, get him in the end zone, hit this box a guy out, and wait for the ball to get there. Knows how to find the open areas. This is one thing you like to see with tight ends, working that underneath area. Find those spots in the zone. Find those open areas where that quarterback is going to be looking for you. When you're that bailout guy, you're not the first option. Maybe you're the second or third. And by the time he gets to you, you're sitting there pretty, man, just waiting for the ball. Like, if he would have been healthy all season, I think he would be drafted higher than what he's going to be. He could still be drafted higher than what he is right now, what some have him projected right now. But he's a prototypical tight end, man. He reminds me of Mark Andrews. And if you like Mark Andrews, you should like this guy. And I like Mark Andrews, and I like this guy. He's not the same style athlete that some of these other guys I have a little bit higher than him. If you deal with injuries, I got to knock you a little bit. I don't care what your name is. I don't care how much I like you. I have to take that into account. I'm not the one doing the testing, and I'm not a doctor, so it's not like I could tell you if it was good or bad. But what I want to know is that you're fully healthy when I draft you. And if you're not fully healthy or you're still recovering for something, not all the way back. Like, he played last year, don't get me wrong. But it usually takes a year truly to recover from an ACL. So I'm sure there's going to be, medical checks and all that stuff with all these 30 visits and all that. This guy's Mark Andrews, man. He should probably be a second-round pick. And I think, I probably like him more than Arroyo because he's a physical blocker too. Like I said, he's a prototypical tight end. And I probably should have had him above him, but I like Arroyo's big play capability, man. It's awesome. So these guys are very similar rated to me, and either one of them is going to be fine on your team. Mitchell Evans, like I said, the only thing with him, I'm worried about injuries. If you have an injury history, I'm already got to knock you down a little bit. And Notre Dame kicks out tight end, so that's not a question. Like I said, this guy, he's a damn good tight end. I think he's going to have a fine career. But right now, going into the draft in April here, we're going to leave him at number 7 for us and just tell you, he's a damn good receiver. Or damn good tight end. You're not going to be sad you got him. Number 8, guy I mentioned earlier, Mason Taylor out of LSU. Son of Jason Taylor, everybody knows that. Got that pedigree. That's why I like to say that. He's 6'5", 251, plenty of frame, plenty of weight, 4.65 40, so he's got the speed. 55 catches, 446 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's a little weird. He only had 2 touchdowns. He is an explosive weapon. He lines up everywhere, man. He is fast, athletic, and physical. Really good route runner, good hands. This guy's a capable receiver, no problem. I'd like him to be a little bit tougher on blocking, but I'm not sitting here going to say he can't do it at the NFL level. I just think, obviously, I always want people to be better at blocking. This guy is more of a mid-rank blocker, but his athleticism and receiving skills definitely make up for what he's lacking in blocking. My only issue with him is why he's number 8 is focus issues. He's got false starts. He's got drops. That's a maturity. That's a discipline thing that I can't draft you higher if I can't trust you to not cost me yards. And until you prove to me you can, I wouldn't move you up this list. I think he's got all the physical skills needed to be a starting tight end in the NFL. But I need to know you're good up here. And on tape, you see the mistakes. You see the mental errors. And those are the things that cost people games. You have too many mental errors in a game, it's going to cost you the game. I can't be costing myself the game. If I didn't see those on tape, this guy would probably be the 3rd or 4th tight end off the board. Just physical gifts. So it's not about his talent. It's about mental mistakes. That's why you're down here at 8. Other than that, draft this guy. You're going to use him as a receiver. There's no doubt about that. He's got all the skills. Like I said, he's a Jimmy Graham style player. Definitely got to work on his discipline. Number 9, Jake Briningstool out of Clemson. 6'6", 241, 4.75 40. So he's got all right speed. 49 catches, 530 yards, 7 touchdowns. You like all those numbers. For a guy that played 12 or 13 game season, those are all great. Excellent hands, plays big as shit. I know he's only 240, but he plays like he's 280. He's quick out of his stance, loose hips and great feet, man. He is out there working routes. He's out there working the breaks. He is above average route runner, and he's got yak ability. He catches the ball, he keeps moving. He's not one of those guys that just catches and falls down. He's a dangerous player. He reminds me of Puka Nacua. Like, that's how he moves. He's a tight end, I know, but he moves like Puka Nacua. They're going to send this guy in motion and let him work on things. Whoever drafts this guy, I hope, understands exactly how to use him, because he has definitely got the capability to be a dangerous player for your team. And if you don't like dangerous, I don't know what you're doing out here. I want someone that the defense is worried about, that the defense is spending time game planning against. And Jake Briningstool is a hell of a football player that they're going to have to worry about. It's just development. Keep developing, better. That's what you want to see from him. So that's why he's at 9 down here. But like I said, he's going to be – you just got to rank him somewhere, guys. I can't put him all on number 1, that's for sure. But this guy's a hell of a talent, and I can't wait to see him in the NFL next season. Another guy that's a hell of a talent, number 10, Jalen Conyers. Listen, this guy is moving up the board every time I turn on the tape. He's a tight end out of Texas Tech, 6'3", he's a little shorter, 260 though, plenty of size. 4'7", 440, got decent speed, 30 catches, 320 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I would like to see more stats, but I feel like they didn't use him enough, man. Like, that's how it looks to me. And they used him in multiple facets, I assure you. He's got good speed. He plays fast, though, man. That's what I like about him, and he is strong. Excellent athletic feet. Just in and out, tap, 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 tap. He's toe tapping out here on people just to get in and out of breaks. Really good hands. He attacks the ball, and he is acrobatic, man. His ability to adjust on the fly, it's acrobatic. That's the word I like to use to describe him. This guy, like I said, he scored in multiple ways. He had 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown. When I watched him, I was like, this guy is the Boobie Miles of tight ends. He can catch, he can run, and he can pass. And if you know what that is, then you know you love football. This is the type of guy that he's an athletic freak, man. Like, that's how I feel about him. I think this guy could be dangerous. If he was 6'5", 6'6", he'd be top of the second round into the first. And I still think he's going to get drafted higher than a lot of people think. So definitely a fun player to watch. He's got to work on blocking. That's why he's down here. Like I said, he's a little undersized on the height, but the weight's there. No problem about that. But I would like to see him be a better blocker. Watching him go play receiver as a tight end, it's entertaining. Watching him play football is entertaining. And that's the facts. Like I said, he's scoring in all different aspects of the game. He's what we like to call a staple back. So this is the type of guy for fantasy. If you're looking for a fantasy tight end, he ends up in the right team, he's going to be a fantasy superstar. On to number 11, Gunnar Helm, tight end out of Texas, 6'5", 241, 4'8", 440, a little bit slower than I think some people probably thought he was going to run based off the way he looks on tape. He definitely looks like he moves faster on film. But 4.84, that's your tight end speed, your average tight end speed in the NFL. Last year, he had 60 catches, 786 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Those are excellent stats. And Texas was a high-profile offense, and he was part of that. He's got great hands, makes tough catches. He's an above-average route runner. Still some things he can work on, but definitely higher up than a lot of guys as far as his route running goes. He's a versatile player, another one of those guys that lines up everywhere. And he is fluid, man. He's like running water. He's going to go where he wants to go. And he is an end zone weapon. Like I said, he had 7 touchdowns. I'm surprised he didn't have 15. This guy knows how to use his body when he boxes out in the end zone. He knows how to get open. And around the end zone, he's a dangerous player. Get him the ball, he's got a nose for it. So he's the type of guy, I know a lot of people are higher than him on this, than where I got him. If he was a little bit faster, I could trust that he was going to be a strong blocker. I would definitely have him higher. The fact that he runs a 4.84, like I said, he's got average tight end speed. He's not beating anybody over the top like some of these other guys, like Fannin Jr. He'll run by people, man. But Gunnar Helm, he's a damn good receiver. He's a damn good football player. He's going to be a guy that is going to be a good NFL player probably for the next 8-10 years, man. It's just like I said, there's things that I want him to be a stronger blocker. And if I got a choice between drafting a guy who runs 4.8 and drafting a guy who runs 4.6, that's a receiving weapon at tight end, I'm not going to draft a guy that runs 4.6. That's just being honest with you. I'm not here to bullshit you on any of that. I think Gunnar Helm's a damn fine football player, but I'm going to draft the faster guy. Number 12. This is a guy that some people are going to have much lower than this, I'm sure. This is a guy that maybe some people have higher. At number 12, we got Maliki Mataveo. I think it's Mataveo. Out of UCLA, 6'6", 260. Now, that's a tight end. 4.81 speed on the 40. 41 catches, 506 yards, only 2 touchdowns last year. This is a guy that is quick, not fast. He's not running away from anybody, but he can get open. He runs smooth, too. He's got quick feet. Like I said, he gets open. He creates separation because of his excellent footwork, man. He is a tough physical player. He knows how to body people. And he's a guy, Edgerrin James, it was a running back in the day for the Colts. Some of you guys probably remember him. But the one thing I always liked about him is he always fell forward. And that's what Maliki Mataveo does. He falls forward whenever he catches a pass. He's always falling forward for an extra yard or two. It's just a talent that some people have. You see it from guys here and there that you never see him get knocked back. He stands there and keeps his legs moving, and eventually they just fall forward. And the one thing I like about this guy is he is special in the screen game. He only had 41 catches, but, man, they throw it to him in the screen game and those quick feet going to work. He understands how to move through traffic. He is a big target out there that uses his frame to box out. And his player comp is TJ Hockenson, man. I'm a huge TJ Hockenson fan. I didn't like him talking shit when he left from when we traded him to the Vikings, but, oh, finally I get to win. Who's winning now, man? But at the end of the day, that's who Mataveo reminds me of, is TJ Hockenson, man. He moves like him. He runs like him, catches like him, uses his body. I'm a big fan of Hockenson as far as the football player goes, man. And I would be happy as hell to get this guy like a late 3rd round pick, early mid-4th round pick, and let him go to work as a starting tight end probably from day one. Because he's a good blocker too, man. I mean, he's not top of the line, but he's definitely more than capable because he's a physical guy. Like I said, he's a tough physical football player. That's what you want. Number 13, Oronde Gadsden II. Make sure I add that in there. Out of Syracuse. Like I said, this is one of those guys that is probably higher on a lot of people's boards. I've seen him as high as like the 4th tight end, as low as probably this might be the lowest he is on some people's board. I don't know. But he's out of Syracuse, 6'5", 243, 4.59 speed. I like that a lot. That's awesome. That's the fastest 40 time out of all these tight ends on this list is a 4.59 40. He had 69 catches last year, 860 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's got strong, excellent hands. He's a good route runner. I wouldn't say he's an excellent route runner. I think he's a good route runner. But he is fluid. He moves well, like I say, moving like water. And he is a great adjuster. That's what I want to call him, the great adjuster. He adjusts the passes very well on the move to help his quarterbacks out. He did miss a year. And so, like I said, another guy with injury history. I'm always going to knock you down a little bit. I like this guy as a receiver, man. He's an excellent receiver. He plays like a big receiver. Like I said, like a Jimmy Graham type, one of those guys. You get Mike Gesicki, one of those guys. One of those guys that can flex out and play in that slot spot. And he's going to be a big slot tight end probably more than likely because he's lanky for a tight end. He's 6'5", but he's 243, and he looks thin when you're watching him on tape, which concerns me when it comes to being in line and being a blocker. Concerns me, can he be on the field every play, or is he going to only be on certain plays where they need a 3rd, 4th receiver, and he's that, and not going to be asked to block a lot. He definitely is a hell of a receiver. He had 70 catches, almost 70 catches last year, and runs a 4.59. Somebody's going to grab him. They're going to work with him. And in 2 years, this guy is going to pop on the scene like, holy shit. But right now, I'm just worried about how much he's going to be on the field, being that his blocking is an issue. So he's at 13 right now. Like I said, I've seen him as high as 4 or 5 on boards, generally around like 8 or 9. I just got him down a little bit lower because I still want guys that can be on the field every play, that are tough guys, that can block when asked. And if I'm going to draft a guy that is only a receiver, I'm not going to rank him as high. So that's the facts of that. Number 14, Bryson Nesbitt out of North Carolina, UNC. He is 6'5", 238 pounds. Another guy with a little bit thinner frame. Ran a 4.88 40. Don't like that. That's getting down there. I've seen offensive linemen run a 4.9 something. So I need you to be a little bit faster. Only had 24 catches, 264 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Not a big stats guy. But he's got good balance, good acceleration. He's not fast, but he's quick right off the snap. He's a guy that goes and gets the ball, he snatches it out the air, uses those big hands, finds the soft spots, and adjusts well when on the move. He's a smooth receiver. He runs nice. I like the way he moves, and he is QB friendly. The song, I Make Hard Look Easy. That's how this guy looks as a receiving tight end. This is the guy that had the wrist fracture. Sorry. He was the one that missed the time with a wrist fracture. That's why he's down here too. Bryson Nesbitt, he's a good receiver, but slower. Like I said, that's going to knock him down. He's probably going to be in like a 5th, 6th round pick just because of the speed and lightweight. He's only 238, like I said. He's a good receiving tight end. He'll be a fine number 2 tight end for a team for quite some time probably in the league. And going to help out QBs whenever he's out there, that's for sure. He's going to be a bailout option because, like I said, he gets open quick but with his quick feet or good acceleration, but he's not going to outrun anybody. He's getting tackled usually when he catches the ball. So that's just what you got to deal with and why he's down here. Number 15, this guy, he'll probably end up moving higher on my overall ranking boards as I go here through the rest of the players and everything else. But Luke Lachey out of Iowa, they're a tight end factory. He is 6'6", 251, plenty of size for tight end. Ran a 4.77 40, so he's almost down there by 4.8, a little bit slower. But 28 catches, 231 yards, 0 touchdowns. Not the most glaring numbers, that's for damn sure. I'm not here to pretend, talk him up. There's a reason he's down at 15. This guy had 60 catches. He'd probably be number 4 or 5 on the board. He's got good speed, good acceleration. He's a great route runner. Loose hips, quick feet, helping on those routes. He might not run away from anybody, but he's definitely going to create some separation right off the bat. He goes and gets it. He's a physical, tough player. He missed most of 2023. I think he played 7 games, something like that. But he's a decent blocker, and he is physical in traffic, man. I was watching tape. I was like, what traffic? Because he snatches the ball out there, and it doesn't matter if there's a guy hanging on his back. The only thing you worry about with Luke Lachey is he's got some lower body strength issues. He's going to have to get stronger if he wants to be on the field all the time. And he's got all the capabilities to be on the field all the time. He just has to get stronger. He's got to be able to block better than he has shown. He loses the blocking edge against bigger defenders. And at 250, there's going to be guys that are bigger than you. That's just the facts. But receiving capability, I would love to have this guy on my team. Like I said, he's probably going to take a year to get stronger. Next year, you're going to hear about Luke Lachey as a starting tight end in the league and be like, why didn't they draft this guy higher last year's draft? There's always buzz. There's always somebody that you look back and go, that guy shouldn't have been drafted that high. This guy shouldn't have been drafted that low. I don't know where he's getting drafted. We're at the beginning of April and drafts here in a few weeks. But at the end of the day, I think this guy should be drafted higher than probably where he's going to go. If somebody sees what I'm looking at, they might draft him higher. They might play the game of let me get the value, see how far he drops. But Luke Lachey has got all the tools. He just needs to get stronger. And once he does, he's going to be a dangerous weapon. And number 16, the final guy on our list, I put him on here just because of who he reminds me of. Like I said, I just kept adding guys because I kept liking what I was seeing on tape. If you're worried about receivers in this draft, there's plenty of tight ends that are damn good receivers. So number 16 is Thomas Fidone II out of Nebraska. He's 6'5", 243. Like I said, not huge, not 260 like a couple of these other guys, but a little thinner frame. Ran a 4.7 40, 4.7 flat. So he's got decent speed. Like I said, 4.7 is where you want to be around if you want to be considered to be a receiving tight end more than anything. You need to be able to either create separation right away, be quick, and not be able to run away from everybody, but you got to be able to create separation, or you got to be able to run away from people, run away from some of these linebackers. And Thomas Fidone might be able to run away from some of these linebackers. He had 36 catches, 373 yards, no touchdowns last year. I don't think he had a touchdown the year before either, which is just weird. They just don't use him around the end zone a lot. And with Raiola there at Nebraska, he might just run it in. But this guy is an above-average route runner, really good hands, not top-notch, not top-end hands, but definitely trustworthy. Excellent feet. He's got good hips. Getting in and out of those breaks, that's what you need. Quick feet, quick hips. He's got good speed, like I said, 4.7. He's not breaking any records, but he's definitely a capable speed for a tight end. This guy is excellent in traffic. He is a physical guy when it comes to playing in traffic and still snatching the ball out the air. And the guy he reminds me of that I said made me put him on the list is Dallas Clark, man. You go watch the tape, and then you go watch Dallas Clark tape. It looks like the same guy running. I don't know if this guy is some distant cousin or whatever, but that's who he reminds me of when the way he moves on film. And that gets me excited because I remember watching Dallas Clark. I remember having Dallas Clark on a fantasy team. He was one hell of a weapon for the Colts back then. Now they had Peyton Manning throwing the ball, that probably helped, but his in and out of breaks was top tier, man. He was an excellent route runner. That's how he got open. That's how he always caught the ball so often, because he was a weapon for Peyton Manning. You had Reggie Wayne, you had the Marvin Harrisons, you had all those guys around him. But Dallas Clark was a big part of their run of success, where they run 12-plus games for 50 years, it seemed like. I know it was like 8, 9 years, 10 years maybe in a row. They won like 12 games. But Dallas Clark was a huge part of that. And for this guy to remind me of him, I had to put him on his video because he's just somebody I think you guys should be looking at. He's probably not going to be ready to do much year one. Tight ends generally take a year or two just because they have to get stronger for blocking reasons. Though you'll see him out there 3 plays a game or something. This is that type of guy. He's going to get out there 3-4 times a game as he grows into being a starting tight end in the NFL. But I definitely think he has the capability, man. He's a really balanced player, and you like to see that. But he's definitely got to get stronger. Another one of those guys got to get stronger, got to get a little more physical. But as a receiver, watching him move around looking like Dallas Clark, it gets me excited when I'm thinking about tight end in an offense. And he goes to the right offense. This is one of those guys. I think some of these teams in the NFL draft could be drafting 2 tight ends. This is one of those guys that you could draft as a second tight end. I don't know if you remember back in the day, Ravens did it. They took Hayden Hurst in the first round, Mark Andrews in the 4th round. Worked out for him. Mark Andrews was the 4th round pick. They ended up trading Hayden Hurst or letting him go. I forget what it was, but Mark Andrews has been one hell of a player for quite 8-9 years now. Thomas Fidone could be one of those guys that gets drafted in the 6th, 7th round as a second tight end for a team that was drafting tight ends this year and ends up being the better guy. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see where we go from here with our tight ends and all the other stuff going on. I can't wait for fantasy season because some of these guys are definitely going to be part of that. As far as the NFL draft goes, these are my top 16 tight ends. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment, like, subscribe. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching, man. Just let you know, any support, always welcome. So thanks, and I hope you have a good day. Other than that, I'm out of here.